Welcome to the show on 104.1 Riverwest Radio. My name is Kyle, and joining me from sunny Los Angeles, California is my co-host Christian. The show is brought to you in part by Pete's Pub on the corner of Brady Street in Arlington. Pete's Pub offers daily food specials, daily drink specials, weekly trivia, and much more. More information available at petespubonbrady.com. Chris, how are you doing today, buddy?
I got good news. I went to the dentist and everything was fine. So that's makes me really relieved because I do not like the dentist. I don't know, Kyle, do you like the dentist at all?
I mean, I have never had a cavity, so when I go to the dentist, I just get nothing but good news, basically.
Oh, well, I had to get a root canal a couple weeks ago. That was terrible. Jake, have you ever?
Hey, we got to introduce. We got to let the listeners know.
Even though you don't know who I am right now, I'm not a big fan of going to the dentist. I feel bad for the dentists in the world. No one really wants to see them.
Yeah.
No, I tell them actively, I'm I can't wait not to see you guys again. Just
yeah.
Not that
we have a very special guest today. He was a quarterback for 10 seasons in the NFL, playing for both the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. He's an Arizona State legend. Kristen, you're obviously wearing your Arizona State shirt in honor of him. And he was inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2007. He's an Idaho Athletic Hall of Famer, a College Football Hall of Famer. He is the co-founder of Myco Love Farm, which is a full-scale medicinal and culinary mushroom farm in Fort Lupton, Colorado. He's also the co-founder of Umbo, which sells mushroom supplements and bars for medicinal purposes. He's an avid handball player. He plays the jaw harp. Basically, he's pretty cool. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake the Snake Plummer. What's up, Jake?
Hey, not much, man. Thanks for that intro. And, I think cool is a relative term. We're all pretty cool in our own rights, right? As long as we're just enjoying life and doing what makes us happy. And, you guys are doing a good job. Congrats on your success. And thanks for letting me join the show.
Yeah, thanks I know you were really begging to be on it, and we had to open up. So first question is, when did you start playing the jaw harp, and is it hard to play?
Yeah, the jaw harp's not fun if you don't watch YouTube first. I found that out the hard way. That little, you put it on your teeth and you flick the little metal, cord thing or whatever little thing that vibrates. And if you don't move your teeth, it hits your teeth. And so speaking of, dentists, dentists don't like jaw harps, or maybe they do because, there's no
more
jaw
people
harp
go.
Yeah. No jaw harp player alive that's played the jaw harp for more than 20 years and doesn't have a chipped tooth, probably is what I would think. But it was just something fun. I was like, God, I'm not learning the piano. I'm not picking up a guitar. What could I play that's musical? So, if I'm around a group of people or in a ceremony or doing something, I can bust out and actually contribute to the joy and the vibration of the moment. So I thought, I'll do the jaw harp. It's pretty easy. It just takes breathing and some rhythm.
How long did it take for you to learn to get where you're at now as a jaw harp player?
I'm not that great. There's dudes doing awesome stuff with it. You can go online and see artists with their jaw harp. For me, I just made a commitment to try to play it every day. I'm gonna play it every day. And it started, when I started farming the mushrooms in Fort Lupton, I thought, man, these mushrooms, there's something special about them. They're aware. To me, they are sentient. That they have an intelligence innate to that whole species, that whole queendom. And I thought, if we're growing these mushrooms and we're profiting from them, what can we put into them that makes that profit worthwhile for us? Because we're selling something natural, something that's been around in nature for so long, and we're making money.
Right.
And so I thought, put a lot of love into it, hence the name Myco Love, and play the jaw harp for them and talk to them, sing, whistle to them, tell them how you feel. They're amazing. So that's when I first started really practicing it every day. And, I haven't played in a while now. You reminded me I got to pull that thing out. And one day though, I was hiking in the forest with my kids, here in Coeur d'Alene, and I couldn't see a mushroom. It was in the summer. We're out just hiking in the forest. And when I hike in the forest, I love to find mushrooms. And all of a sudden I found one. I was like, oh, and then I got my jaw harp out and played a little bit. And then we walked a little more and I was like, oh, there's another one. And my daughter said, Daddy. And I said, what? And she goes, look down. I looked down and there was 10 of them all around me. And I swear to God, they were not there till I played my jaw harp. And then they started coming out.
sound like a magical, mythological, elf you are in a way.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, so your business, you started Umbo and you founded the farm just a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, Umbo started out with my buddy Dale Jolly, wanting to get into the industry as it's now starting to more people to learn the benefits of functional mushrooms, not magic mushrooms. They have their own benefits and there's research being done and people know whatever stories they know about magic mushrooms. That's changing too. The narrative around that is changing, less of going on a wild psychedelic trip to more of I'm treating my untreatable by Western medicine anxiety, PTSD, depression, addictions. I'm using nature to now approach this. So that's a whole different thing. But what we wanted to do was bring in the importance of functional mushrooms, which have been legal for forever. There's no class, Schedule 1 listing on lion's mane or reishi or turkey tail or cordyceps. So Umbo wanted to get into that, kind of help as I did with Charlotte's Web, which to me was the standard bearer. Their oils were the best, top notch, hands down, the best, most effective product. And it was the product. There wasn't fillers. There was no diluting the extract. It was the real deal. And that's what I wanted to do with Dell, is get into this industry before it became, what am I taking? Here's this little thing, this coffee powder, but there's 25 milligrams of mushrooms in this. That's not going to do anything for you. It's good, but it's not like taking an entire gram of a tincture, which to me, you need a gram or 2 grams of each of those in your body every day. So we set out with Umbo to kind of raise the bar, set a standard on quality of product, working on our price points, obviously, as it's hard to start selling them real down there too low when you're trying to just get them on the market. But that will happen. That's a goal of ours, to make them attainable. This is good stuff for people. We want people to be able to afford it. So Umbo started, and then a chance to have a mushroom farm came around, and I had to jump at that. And that's been a lot of fun. So now I got 2 companies. Umbo is selling tinctures, bars, and capsules, and Mycolove is extracting and selling a tincture. And I'm like, wait, which one do I sell? How do I do this? So we're working through all that business-wise, and it's just a nice, fun industry to be into. A lot of connections are being made with other amazing people that want to heal themselves and help others heal in a natural way. And that's really, a gift to be able to be presenting that and being a conduit to that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Sorry, I'll let you finish, Kyle.
I was going to say, well, congratulations on your new business venture. I mean, all the videos I watch, you look like you're having the time of your life playing jaw harp for your mushrooms. All the videos I saw when you're in your, the cooling station or wherever you're storing them. So looks like you're enjoying yourself. So,
yes.
I mean, I've definitely taken psychedelic mushrooms before. But as far as taking them for medicinal purposes, Umbo, for someone that's never considered that, I guess what would you say they should start off doing with those, from Umbo?
I take a walk in nature and just ask yourself, repeatedly, if you're not ready to hear yet, do I want to feel this way? Do I want to take prescription meds? Do I want to put these things in my body that, I don't want to believe are not good for me, but I'm being told they're not good for me, but they're not being told by my doctor. Take your health into your own hands is really my first thing you have to want to do. You have to want to have the initiative. It has to be there. And maybe the long, history of disease and not feeling right. When you become aware of how you feel, when you become aware of how you feel when you eat certain foods, or when you watch certain things on TV, or when you hang out with certain people, or you do certain things to your body, it's the awareness that really opens you up to now going, let me check this out. And then once you you dive into that rabbit hole of mushrooms, the world of fungi. Fantastic Fungi is a great documentary to start with by Louis Schwartzberg. You want to learn a little bit about mycelium and what's underneath.
I saw that movie. That was good. I saw that in theaters, actually, for Valentine's Day.
Okay, dude, you're on it, man. And you saw it in I watched it 3 years ago, I think it was, and it was man, just opened me up to know, like, and then that's what other people have to learn, that this is an entire, I call it a queendom, because I believe it's mother. I believe it's the beginning of life on earth. And that's what moms do, is they birth life. So to me, the fungi queendom, we're just learning about it. We didn't grow up in school learning about fungi and mushrooms. We did a little bit in biology, or the mold on the cheese. Yeah, you just cut the outside of the cheese off. That's a fungus.
Right.
But there are so many out there that we have no idea about. And even the ones we've been taking, lion's mane, is so minimally researched that's the exciting part of this, is we're going to be able to with like I mentioned earlier, what's the intent behind what we're doing at Umbo Microlove? We're going to make money doing this. There's no doubt about it. But what we get to do with that money is the exciting part, is research and find ways to like stop this destructive Western medicine type society of, oh, hey, you have dementia, you have this, or you're going to get this. Let's stop making these statements of we have, and let's start saying, like, I don't want to have that. What can I do, doc, to not have anxiety? Here, take this prescription. Now, F you, doc. What can I do to not have anxiety? I don't want to take your pill that has who knows what in it. I want to do this naturally. And most doctors in Western medicine, they won't know what to say. They won't be able to say anything. So you got to go out on your own. You got to ask some certain people, go to a naturopath or an herbalist or a health food store, and just ask the right questions if you have the intent. Going down the psychedelic realm, that's a whole nother story, man. You got to sit in meditation and understand, like, if you're ready for that, because that's not a guaranteed one time and everything's good. Like, that one time may open you up to all kinds of now work that you really need to do, and realize that you're like, oh my God, I didn't want to do this. That's why I just watched football every night and drank beer, and you just numb yourself to what really is important. And so you just have to be open to want to think a little bit outside the box, break up the status quo a little bit, and really assess how well you want to feel and how long you want to live.
I mean, absolutely. Don't you think it's like crazy? Like, someone went outside one day, and saw something growing from the ground and decided to eat it. I mean, that's wild. I mean, like, literally having I would think that they saw an animal eat it maybe, and then decided, hey.
Isn't there the theory, the stoned ape theory? The stoned ape theory, that's how that, what's the word? Evolution happened. Basically, apes ate a shit ton of, psychedelic mushrooms, and it, developed their brain into becoming, human, essentially. Is that what the theory is?
Yeah, it makes sense. We walked out of the cave, and we were looking for food, right? We were hungry. And not always could you just catch an animal and start a fire and cook it up. We ate a lot of veggies and fruits as we were nomadic humans before the dawn of agriculture and dominator male society, where we started farming cows. And now look at the world, cows are ruining the world, and nobody knows. No one wants to say, yeah, I'll stop drinking milk if it helps save the earth, and I'll stop eating beef if we can save Mother Earth. Nah, they just still keep slamming big fat double cheeseburgers down their faces and wondering why they feel shitty and have to go see their doctor and get a pill and feel worse. So
I know they're having a problem in the Netherlands with all the methane from the cows out there.
Yeah, New Zealand and everywhere, man. No one's talking about this. It's like, also we can drink milk. We can drink milk that's not even good for you when they do what they do to it and all the stuff that's in it. And so it's like, yeah, people are they're waking up to a new way to look at stuff. The stoned ape theory is really sweet, though, because our brains went from being little teeny walnuts to huge and able to do what we do now. Like, maybe whether it's an evolutionary process of we're not that smart, or maybe we were aliens and we were eating those mushrooms to make us become the powerful aliens we are. Because remember, at some point, someone called us humans. Some body on Earth said, we're humans, and they termed us humans. Who was he? Was he an expert? Did he know that maybe we are aliens? I don't know. Why do you call us humans? Those bad choice words. What if we'd have called ourselves, gladiators? Would we be different? Would we think differently about ourselves instead of just humans?
It's a good question.
That is, yeah.
You got me putting my thinking hat on here.
All right.
Well, I think it's great what you're doing. And I mean, I don't know what the percentage is of people that are on prescription medication, but I do think it's a problem in our society where people are quick to go that route when they haven't exhausted some other options. And, you know, whether that's getting outside more, diet, exercise, like, you know, there's people that kind of just skip the work and just want to be better at taking the shortcut. But obviously, yeah, I don't think it's good to have however many people relied on, you know, prescription medication. It's not a good thing.
And our younger generation too, that deals with a whole different life than you did growing up and that I did growing up. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of outside influences. There's just a different way of living now, yet we haven't evolved, medicinally in any way. And so that's what's fun right now. There's, you know, the vote 122 passing in Denver to decriminalize nature was not so that people could trip out and heal even. It was so that we could get our human rights back to like, yo, I'm a human, right? That word again. I'm human. I want to put a lemon tree in my backyard, grow lemons and eat my own lemons and lemonade. And we should not be told we can't. Well, we're being told you can't grow peyote in your backyard. I'm back in Idaho where, shit, I'm going to go to jail if they pull me over and I got my pipe in here and I got some marijuana with me. I'm going to go to jail, where in Colorado it's like, yeah, who cares? They're not going to put you in jail for this plant. So we're getting our human rights back, our rights as humans to say, no, this is what I want to do. And it was a big day for us.
For sure. You are kind of popular in Idaho though, so maybe they would cut you a break if you got pulled over.
Sometimes you think that, but sometimes that works the complete opposite. We're like, oh, yeah. I had a friend who said that in high school he was a punk on the football field and said some snappy shit to him. I'm gonna get him back for that.
Get in my cop car, you hippie.
I get a cop that's just like that, right? So, but you know, I think you can draw that to you too, and I can make sure that if was there an occasion that I can actually, you know, I feel like I can become into control of what I can only control is myself and how I react. Yeah. When you do that, then you take all the excess out of it. Sometimes that cop turns being mad to like going, oh, hey, all right, I thought I'd be met with resistance. This guy's actually peaceful. You have a nice day now.
And well, you know, it's no secret that you obviously were a standout football player. How would you describe yourself, you know, on the playing field? Did you talk trash? Like if you were mic'd up, like what would we hear?
I didn't set out like with the idea to go into a game and just like, if I score, be like, yeah, punk ass, I took the, I'm celebrating. But if somebody was going to come at me with something and try to, you know, either hurt me or hit me harder than anybody's ever hit me or say something, you know, about my size or something I'm doing, yeah, I'm going to come back at you and have plenty to say. You know, my style on the field was I'm going to fight as hard as I possibly can for my team and do whatever I can to help them win. And, you know, when I did that, it just became, you know, there were more other guys with the same attitude on defense and a few here on offense. And like before long, that became really the expectation. It wasn't me standing out as this amazing leader that was just, you know, would never give up, but it was me doing that. Then eventually other guys buying in and having the right, you know, players around me in certain scenarios that, yeah, we were able to overcome some major odds and pull some victories out of the jaws of defeat. And, but I was a competitor, man. I really competed hard and I loved my teammates. That's the kind of player I was. I didn't really care about my performance. Of course, I wanted to play as best as I could. As long as we won, you know, I really just wanted to win so we could all feel good about the result, right?
Yeah.
Winning doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Winning doesn't mean you have to never make a mistake. Winning means that you banded together as a team and you fought through adversity and you pulled it out. And it's what we're here for. Whether you played well or not, hey, we won. And so that was my approach. And I think, you know, that helped my teammates because, you know, we're all going to have tough days. And when you can just band together and know the ultimate result is to win, when you win, it feels good.
Yeah. Did your friend ever forgive you for stealing his quarterback job in 5th grade? The one that made you join?
Yeah, he did, because now he's running routes and I'm drilling him with balls. He's the number one receiver now. Instead of being a shitty quarterback, he was the number one receiver because I could throw the ball to him accurately.
Yeah.
And then he was my receiver in high school too, which was cool. And, yeah, we were best friends. There was a week there where that was probably one of my biggest jumps in my skill set in that week of practice because they were all pissed. Everybody was like, this new kid took Casey's job. Let's get him. And so in practice, I was like, yeah, get me. Good luck. Have fun. And I
You're lucky I didn't take your job.
I made them all look stupid because they were trying to get me. And when they try to get me, that's when I could really make you miss because you're trying hard. You're wanting to hurt me, coming at it without like the intent of just getting me. And so, yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. Casey Richards, my old buddy, I took his job. And he was the one begging me to come play. He begged me, and then I begged my mom, and then I came and played, took his job, and the rest is history.
It all worked out for you, I think.
Yeah.
Casey, he can just take credit for your NFL career, I guess.
Thank you, Casey.
Do you know what team you threw your first touchdown against?
Which level?
Your first professional NFL touchdown in a
against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
In Veterans Stadium, and I got the call in the second half to go out, and we got the ball on the 2-yard line, had 98 yards to go, and when I got in the huddle, it was loud, and they all looked at me, all these veterans, Lomas Brown, Larry Centers, all these guys, and I said, it's all right to curse on your podcast, I hope, because I'm going to get the version.
All right.
Shit.
All right.
Yeah, we can swear.
Man. Come on. Yeah.
We can swear.
I stepped in the huddle. I was like, you motherfuckers ready to take this 98 yards? And they like looked at me. I was like, are you fucking ready to go 98? And they're like, yeah. And all of a sudden they were like, uh-huh.
Yeah, I think so.
And I looked over to my left and Larry Centers is looking at me like this. And I'm like, dude, you got something in your eye? What's up? He's like, eye of the tiger, baby. Eye of the tiger. Because we're in Philly, right? Eye of the tiger. Alone, right? It was the deal, Rocky. So, yeah, I threw my first touchdown to Kevin Williams, I think, K-Dub on a slant route. That was my first live action.
You know your NFL history.
I do. Yep, I know my history.
So, and Arizona, the Cardinals, they were in the NFC East for a while, so those were some pretty long plane rides back in the day, huh?
Yeah, it sucked. We tried to get them to give us the airline miles, like, you're booking flights for us. Why don't we get those miles? We're the ones flying. Like, no, it's not how it works. They were racking up miles somehow, some way. We should have got those miles. That was like, we flew
that should have been written into your contract.
Oh, God, we were done playing a game in New York, and we get home at 2:30 in the morning. It's like a 5.5-hour plane ride back. And, like, no wonder guys were taking Vicodins and drinking hard alcohol on the plane, man. Your body can't hack that, and it just was horrible. And so I look back and think about the destruction we did on the field, but also the destruction we did just not as aware back then of how important it was. Not all of us. There were some that were pretty into it, but like overall theme was just, eat whatever. Oh, Big Macs. Yeah, let me eat. You just wanted to eat, right? Feed the beast. But we weren't really taking care of ourselves holistically like we should have been. But that's all changed now, thank goodness.
Do you and I think it was the Redskins, some players, there was video of them like partying on the plane after victory recently. Is it like pretty, and I mean, I've read books from other players, like isn't it pretty common just drinking beers like on the flights back, like, or?
Yeah, I mean, we're all adults and, I don't know, they're probably not smoking weed on the plane, which is what they probably should be doing instead of alcohol, but we'd get on the plane and it'd be a 4-hour flight and we'd have a few beers and get a buzz and hopefully let the pain wear off and walk around, play some cards. If you lost and it was a bad loss, you wouldn't be as into it as that. Sometimes you would just because you got a long flight. Not fun to lament and wallow for 4 hours when you know you're going to get your ass chewed in about 6 hours when you go back and watch the film. Yeah. So you might as well have a little fun on the plane ride.
Did you ever smoke any weed like during like the off season at all or anything like that? Or
I used it sparingly, knowing when we'd get tested. I was really worried to ever get a positive test just because of the to me, it would show non-commitment to the team, to do something selfishly, knowing you could lose time with the team. So I didn't do it a lot. Never really did it at all during the season until when I got to the Broncos. It became a post-game routine where I would smoke. I'd take a hit, have a few Tecates, and just relax and drop in with my family. It was really the only thing that would take that. My shoulders would just go, and I'd feel like thousands of pounds just go off my back. And I'm like, okay, the night is free to just be, because I got to go back in tomorrow and watch film and get all that shit back in my head. So I'd use it a little bit, go to, concerts here or there, like on the off days, but I never ever smoked during the week or before a game or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm a huge Ricky Williams fan, huge Dolphins fan. How do you, what are your thoughts on how he was subjected to with
There's certain NFL legends that had one of the most gruesome broken legs ever seen on video. I'm not going to name his name, but you can find out who I'm talking about because his leg was snapped by Lawrence Taylor. And I used to respect him a lot, as a kid watching him play. And then I read an article, and I'll just say it, Joe Theismann had some really choice words about Ricky based upon a, propaganda-filled, fear-based, Christian, anti-Christian, really, because you would never say the things he said if he was as Christian as he claims to be, about a guy like Ricky Williams, who if you went and hung out with him and walked around in a strange place with him and watched him treat other people with respect and love and an open heart, and Ricky's a badass human being. And so what he went through was really wrong to be, accused. But really it wasn't wrong. It was just it made everybody more aware of certain people's viewpoints, because what did he do that was wrong? I feel like he did nothing wrong. He followed his heart. And if that's wrong, and Joe Theismann thinks that's wrong, little kids, don't listen to guys like Joe Theismann. Listen to your heart and the people that are going out and doing what they know is right. And Ricky's awesome. I mean, I love what he's done. He was a hell of a back. He went through a lot of abuse through his life, and the guy deserves to take what he needs to take to help that pain go away.
What's just as far as pain goes, do you think it's running back or offensive line hurts more to play?
Jeez. They're probably both the same, because the O-line just get hit all the time. They're getting hit everywhere on their body, everywhere. And they're falling down all the time. But running backs do take a beating, man. Linemen are going to get hit. They're going to hit and get locked in a lot of plays, maybe fall down, but a running back's going to get hit, then hit again. Maybe 3-4 guys come in and pound him. And you don't see a lot of running backs last very long in the NFL. Or linemen, really. I mean, a long career for them is 6-7 years. And both positions take a beating, man. I pray for those guys and hope that they are open to, hemp oils, whether it's THC or just hemp, and then also looking into functional mushrooms, because we're finding that neural pathways can be reconnected or possibly neuronal pathways repaired and grown, ones that have not grown fully or have been damaged by the use of lion's mane and psilocybin. So, I can't wait to have the money to put money towards research, or I can't wait to have the right people influenced, like the NFL, that would say, yeah, we need to put $1 billion to research this entire kingdom and find out what is out there. There needs to be tons and tons of research. And so until one of these big organizations like the NFL would do that, which they're never going to, I shouldn't say never, but I doubt they're going to do it. Right. We're just going to do it ourselves. We're going to have to take it. We're going to have to spread the word. We're going to have to be in touch with our bodies and how we feel, and find out what works for us, so that we don't have to follow that the former NFL great that's now in a wheelchair and greatly looking forward to CTE, dementia, and suicidal thoughts. Fuck that. We don't have to do that. We don't have to be that person that they so vehemently deny is even there, or even don't even put any effort towards preventing. That's what I mean. They need to invest in some research so that we can understand how to take care of ourselves for the long-term future and treat immediately those, some things that could be treated right now when you're banging against each other and hitting your head a lot. Neuroprotectants are good for you.
Yeah. So, you, in high school, you won a state championship your junior year, correct?
Yes.
And senior year, you lost by 1. You went to ASU. Do you remember the song Camel Country 107.9 made about you when you?
I do remember that, but it's like when Jake Plummer's throwing, the Cardinals are rolling or something like that.
Yeah, it was a catchy little jingle. It was nothing on earth that'll get us going like Jake Plummer's throwing. Everyone knows when the snake drops back in the broad daylight that an ASU win is always in sight. So you must have felt like the shit. Big man on campus got your songs about you on the radio.
I felt like I was pretty important, of course, but no more important than anybody else. And, for me, the attention was fun to some degree, but sometimes I just wanted to go to class and study and go back to work out and get it done.
You were an academic All-American, so you did actually go to class, right?
I went to class, man. I went to ASU, man. Going to class was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Would you ever,
I bet. Nice scenery.
Yes.
I was thinking, would you ever play with yourself after the game? Like on Madden?
Oh, I was like, play with myself after the game.
Oh, yeah, no, like PS2,
Yeah, that's a weird question to ask Jake, man.
No, I would go out looking for my girlfriend to come. No, I never played video games, man. I didn't play a lot of video games. A lot of my teammates did. That started for me when we were playing Tecmo Bowl or we were playing like NBA shootout, and it was like, okay, you guys are beating me at this, but if we go outside, I'm going to smoke you in a game of horse or a game of one-on-one, but you can beat me on a video game. So I just got tired of being beat on a video game, so I didn't play a lot of video games.
Yeah. I just still feel like it'd be kind of cool to, see your name, like literally in a video game. Like, you can literally, run a play action as yourself.
Oh yeah. There was a guy at, the helper at one of the stores in Arizona, and he played it all the time. He played, I think it was one of the first Madden editions, and he's like, every time I go get groceries, cause I did shop for my own groceries too. I'd go get my groceries and he'd follow me around and he'd talk about how good he's doing with the Cardinals. And in 98, my player in 98, whatever they call it, my avatar for Madden, I had some skills, man. I could run around. I got a lot of people that have been like, dude, in 98, man, I dominated in Madden with you. And so they did me right in 98, which was pretty cool. Yeah. So then when they did the college game, they came out, I was one of the college players that was on there. So that was kind of cool. My nephews thought that was cool, but yeah, of course. Trading cards, billboards, all that stuff was flattering. And wow, that's me. Holy shit. Look what I've done. But then it was like, after a while, it just was what it was. And I realized more or less then that I'm still just a normal human, following around a herd of cattle, picking little mushrooms out of their shit.
Were you happy about the Cardinals drafting you since you played it for ASU? Were you happy to stay in Arizona?
Not really, man. I wanted to change the scenery. I really wanted to go to a different city and experience what that would feel like. Going from Boise, Idaho to Tempe, it wasn't a huge culture shock or a huge shift in diversity. And I really wanted to go to a city that had a little bit more to give. But then when I got drafted, it was like, oh, okay. And I started looking at like, wait, these guys haven't been good for a long time.
You're like, uh-oh.
So I was like, hey, just like kind of why I went to ASU. I'd never really heard about ASU. I didn't want to go to USC and then just be another quarterback in the next line of a quarterback that took another great team to a Rose Bowl. And would you remember that guy? Because there's been 15 other Rose Bowls, or would you remember the one season we had at ASU, which they do, 96. We lost the Rose Bowl, and that's the team they talk about. So Arizona was another chance to kind of come in and imprint, put my effort and heart and soul into seeing if I could change the attitude there, change the environment, see if we could become a winner.
Yeah, and you had some interesting teammates, especially with the Cardinals. David Boston, remember him? What can you tell me about
Trey,
David?
Trey Junkin's another one, man. Like Trey Junkin got drafted with Lyle Alzado, and he was still playing when I was playing. So, yeah, we had some great players. David was phenomenal, man. I mean, Ohio State kid. Yeah, he caught the ball, all that stuff. But in '98, man, oh boy, you couldn't stop me and him on a deep comeback. I threw deep comeback easier than I would pitch the ball. Just throw it out there at 18 yards and he'd go get it. Dude was amazing.
And he was, looked like he might have been on some performance-enhancing drugs of some sort eventually. He
was a weight room nut, man. That's all he wanted to do was lift weights, chase women, and then, maybe play football third or fourth after that.
Yeah, and I remember reading about him in ESPN, the magazine, like right after he signed with the Chargers. Some of his teammates had some interesting things to say about him, or he had some weird habits like lotioning his arms before games so his biceps would glisten, wearing different colored contacts, showing up with new piercings. So it seemed like a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah, we label him weird in a toxic masculine locker room in the NFL, but in society, interesting is a good word to use. He was who he was, and he didn't care if someone thought he was weird doing that. That's who he was. That's what he did. So I had respect for him. I liked David. He just got too big. He lifted too much. He got too stiff. He got too much weight on his frame. I mean, the dude, 225, ripped like a Greek god and could run like a sub 4.340. And he was 6'3" or 6'4", like the dude, a specimen. But he put too much weight on that body and his joints wore down. His hammies couldn't take it. And he didn't struggle with a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Were there any other teammates that you really liked playing with that stood out to you over your career?
Yeah, Larry Sanders was one of my all-time favorite teammates. I mean, we let him go after '98, and I kind of wish they'd have let me go when they let him go because he was the heart and soul of our team, and it was tough to replace a guy like him. But yeah, Larry was one of my favorite teammates. Aeneas Williams was a phenomenal professional. One of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. Not just hard, but efficient and diagrammed and planned out work where he was like getting the work done. And in times where we would take a water break after Corey Stringer, died in a practice way back in like 90, I think it was 98. We had water breaks mandatory. And while we were all sitting under the tent drinking waters, he'd be running 110s and doing push-ups for 15 minutes. And it's like, holy shit, man, this guy, he had more endurance. He was just a pro, awesome teammate. Frank Sanders was one of my favorite receivers to throw to. Kwame Lassiter, rest his soul, he was one of my favorite teammates. And then Ronnie McKinnon, linebacker, D2 player of the year, undrafted free agent, one of the greatest football players I've ever played with, man. He was awesome middle linebacker with the Cardinals.
So I'm a big Packers fan, and one of my favorite players growing up was Javon Walker before he left Green Bay. You got to play with him for a while, right?
Yeah, he had that. I think just that 1 year in '06 was when I got to play with Javon. God, what a gifted athlete, man. He really was a phenomenal athlete. So we had a decent year together that year. I got benched towards the end of that year, though, so I didn't really get a benefit using him as much as I would have liked that season.
Yeah. Well, do you think, so when you went to Denver, more attention, obviously. Denver's a big deal. I know maybe initially you had, maybe the attention was unwanted. I guess was it kind of that situation changing from the Cardinals to coming to Denver? And, did you feel like you got more attention than you used to? Obviously, some journalists, upset you a couple times, once or twice.
Yeah, sometimes I would let them get me. Not necessarily, I was obviously upset a little bit, but sometimes it was just, I was being critiqued for doing the job the best I could, and no one was critiquing them for asking, like, third grade level questions. Like, you're a journalist. Why are you asking, what were you thinking when you threw that interception? Like, that's a joke.
That's a dumb question.
Why don't you ask me what the play was and what would make you give you the need to try to make that play, Jake? So then I can explain, well, I love my fucking teammates and what I'm trying to do is get a first down so that we can win the ball game. And sometimes it doesn't work out. What were you Oh, I was thinking about my grandma's muffins, and that if I threw a picture, that your dumbass would ask me a question about it.
Yeah,
So,
what the fuck you think I was thinking?
It was more or less that. Like, this is the question. You just sat here, watched me come out of the shower naked, pissed off because we lost, and you're watching me, and I tell you to leave, but you won't.
That's
and
the
I
best
get dressed,
question.
and then you ask me this question. Like, next question, please. You suck. Go get some other profession. Like, they weren't cool there, man. But yeah,
No,
it was just being weak too. I should not have let them get me.
You skip over, and then the next journalist, they're like, "Oh fuck, I was going to ask that same question too."
Yeah, then I got to where some of them would just bite their lip, not talk, because I'm going to attack you if you ask me a stupid question. But yeah, that was just stress. That was just a lot of, the expectations there were so great and so grand, and I wanted that. I mean, I loved it. I just didn't understand it at the level that it became, where two different papers in town were feuding, would pick, one was pro Jake, one was against Jake, and they would write whatever they wanted, whether it was true or not, so that there was a division happening. And we've seen this in our country.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds familiar.
Divisiveness does not work. It actually is a horrible PTSD, stress, and anxiety causer, because no one knows what to believe. No one knows how to act. No one's able to express themselves in integrity and truth and authenticity, because there's somebody that's going to judge it or pick a side. And it's like, so that stuff wore me down a little bit. When the game was what I loved, I didn't want to talk to the media. In fact, in 2005, we had to go downtown on Thursday to talk for the AFC Championship press conference. I wasn't going to go. They were going to find me. They forced me to get on the bus. Why? Because I had a Thursday routine. We have the greatest season of my life, and I got to break my entire routine that I've done now for 18 games. I got to go downtown on Thursday now. Fuck you. No, I want to win a Super Bowl. Why do I have to go down here? I have to spend 3 hours now to make up to study for this game. It was all for what? So that Terrell Davis could say some bullshit about the shirt I was wearing, because I wasn't in a 3-piece suit. Why? Because I didn't have time to get my suit ready. I didn't want to get changed in my suit. I wanted to study so we could beat the Steelers. That's all I cared about. I didn't want to answer especially Visser's question or TD's question or any of these guys. I didn't care.
They're dumbass questions.
I just wanted to win, man. I just wanted to get a Super Bowl. That's why I went to Denver, and that team was awesome to play for. And Shanahan, as much as we fell apart there at the end, God, he was a smart coach. He put me in so many great situations to shine, to show really the NFL that I can win and I do have skills, and you put the right guys around me and we're going to be hard as hell to beat. And that was a couple fun years there.
Yeah. What was your favorite play call? Like, you hear it in the huddle, be like, hell yeah, I'm ready for it.
Oh yeah, man. If we're going to run like strong right, F motion, fake 34, naked left.
Okay, what am I doing on that one?
Yeah, what are we doing on that? What are we doing on that play?
I was a slot receiver, so what would I be doing on that play?
So we're in a right formation. We got a tight end on the right on the ball, a Z receiver out wide. We're in a strong formation, fullbacks to my right, tailbacks behind me, and the X is on the line on the left side. That's Rod Smith. He's going to run a deep comeback, and when he sees me look at him, he's going to stutter and then take off and go deep. Now, not many QBs could roll to their left and still throw it accurately 40, 50 yards down the field, but I could. And so we just killed teams with that play. Now, the tight end's going to come on a 10-yard crossing route, so I have an outlet there. And the Z receiver is going to come on a 15-yard deep over, and then the fullback's going to leak out in the flat. So I was rolling to my left. I had options 1, 2, 3, Rod on the takeoff, or I could run.
And what was going through your mind when you would make that throw?
I
was just asking.
This is going to look pretty watching this on the highlight reel. That's all I was thinking. This is going to look so nice.
I was trying to be one of those dumbass Denver journalists asking you what's going through your mind.
Answer though, that's a good question, because it made a good play. Don't ask me about my bad plays, because you've never thrown an interception before. It'd be like me asking you, so how can you go to a press conference and not have a pen with proper ink in it? What were you thinking?
Yeah. That's a good point. And I know, being in the spotlight, I mean, it sounds tough. It seems tough. As you said, letting it get to you, which again, I know we only can control our reactions to things. Like we can't control, what happens to us. But I know, your wife now, you had met her, she was working for the Broncos at the time, and I know, didn't one of the journalists, came out and revealed that, which was obviously upsetting to you you didn't want it to affect her job or her standing with the organization. So just dealing with stuff like that, I guess, just comes with the territory, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, depends on if you ask them not to and they still do it, that's when you lose faith in some of the people you think you can trust. But, that was just one of those things. I was probably a little too into, trying to protect, our privacy. Some people would say, no, you're getting paid to be out in the public. And no, I'm not. I don't have to be out in the public. I can do my job and not do this. But I realized it was really a gift that I held, and the ability to positively impact people. And a lot of times I did that. There were some occasions, there were some moments where my emotions took over and I didn't make good decisions, but I owned up to those and said I was sorry and moved forward, Yeah. But the gift that I had to be able to take 30 seconds or a minute to sign some autographs, take a picture with a little kid or a dad, and now the dad, gets a ball signed, and instead of me being a jerk and being like, nah, I'm busy, and he goes home and his son's like, Dad, you want to play catch? He's like, nah, I'm busy. And then that trickles down into hate and just, not any love. But if I signed that ball and it took me a minute, maybe 2 minutes of my life, and the dad goes home and he's got a ball and he's like, the son comes up and he's like, hey, you want to play catch, Dad? He's like, yeah, but check this out, man. Jake signed this ball for you. And I just helped these guys bond and love and something cool. So I realized the gift I still hold in my hands that I held then. And like I said, I wasn't always perfect, but I was, 98% of the time I was as cordial as I could be, even when I was in a rush, trying to be like, hey, I'm sorry, my mom's flight leaves in 1 hour. I have to leave. But even then there'd be a fan be like, fuck you, Jake, you're a dick. There's a mirror, and what you say bounces straight back at you because I'm trying to get my mom to the airplane. Really think about what you said. So
it is funny how people, do you feel like a zoo animal sometimes?
I used to at times, but now, I even subject myself to it. When I go to a Broncos game, I like going down into the seats. I like sitting with the fans. I like to interact with them, throw them off a little bit, give them something to think about. And, kind of glad I pulled that off. I can go out and live my life. Occasionally bump into people that are at this point, they're less reactionary. They're more appreciative of what I did when I played in Denver or how I carried my career, or even more so now what I'm getting behind with nature as a way of healing. A lot of people are really, I can bridge that gap of sports with medicine and health and wellness that sometimes doesn't get bridged, and people are going to, look into this and think a little bit. And so, yeah, I get a lot of love from a lot of people.
I know on your Wikipedia, the profile pictures of you at some Air Force base. Take me through that. Did you get to fly in a fighter plane? How was that?
Yeah, we got a lot of opportunities there because, I was tight with Pat Tillman from ASU in the Cardinal days. And then, when he got killed and started to support the soldiers a little bit, we got some opportunities to do some things. And one of them was to fly in that F-16. It was amazing, man. It was that was, once in a lifetime type deal. And a couple other guys on the team got to go down and do that. And that was fun. Even though it's a weird picture that's featured on Wikipedia, I need to get on there. So I can get on there and change that stuff around. I just, don't have time.
You should just upload a picture of yourself, saying that this is Jake Plummer.
Yeah,
well,
just a selfie.
Current picture of myself now, then maybe, some of my anonymity goes away,
So you split your time between Colorado and Idaho, is that correct? For the most part?
I spent a little time up here in Idaho, in the summertime, and, then live full time in Colorado.
What's Idaho like? I've never been there. Want to visit. Looks nice.
Coeur d'Alene is
nice. And it's like I said, it's a little behind the times as far as progressive legislation on certain things goes, but there's some good people that live here, and it's nature. There's a lot of lot of things to do outdoors. I grew up in Boise. It's a really fast-growing city. Pretty nice place. My family still lives there, but currently I'm in North Idaho at Coeur d'Alene, and Coeur d'Alene Lake's beautiful, man. Summertime's fun, but in the wintertime, it's actually one of my favorite time of years is to be here in the winter because it's quiet and peaceful, and there's no one around.
Yeah. Do you still get, you just mentioned anonymity. Do you get recognized a lot still? Like,
it all depends, like if I'm going into a flower shop, probably not. But if I'm going to go into a sports bar, probably. It just depends, the type of crowd I'm hanging with. And it's all it's all random now. Not as much as back in the day when I retired. Part of moving up to North Idaho and Sandpoint was just to get away from that many people because I was getting recognized everywhere. I mean, I had hardly could get out and put the pump of gas into the car to pump gas before someone would be like, "Hey," and yelling at me to take a picture or sign something. And, at some point, where's my own, sovereignty? I need my own time. I need a little time just to breathe.
yeah.
What's your favorite band currently?
My favorite band currently.
Or last concert you saw?
I've been really digging Fat Freddy's Drop.
I'll have to look them up. Have not heard of them.
It's the Spotify algorithm. Like I get on there and start liking some songs, and before long, you can get exposed to music from all over the world.
Yeah.
And Fat Freddy's Drop came across my radar a couple years ago. They're a huge, a big, I don't know how many people in the band, but they're a festival band from New Zealand, and they're really good, man. They play some good music.
You think they need a jaw harp player?
They definitely need a jaw harp player. The jaw harp's coming back. You watch. There's going to be a full-on jaw harp quartet.
I kind of want to buy one. You can get them for like $15 on Amazon.
Get one, man. Do it. And then just
All
watch
right.
the video and then just start making noise, and it teaches you how to breathe, too. You learn how to breathe in and breathe out. And yoga, that's why I like yoga. That's why I just like breathing. We take for granted, we don't live a certain number of years. I think we all are just given a certain number of breaths. So make sure you take some real deep breaths once in a while, elongate your life.
Good. That's good advice. And, I know you mentioned Pat. One story that you had shared about was, him checking in on you after you went through a rough breakup right before he was about to get deployed, which speaks to him. And, well, for one, I was engaged and it did not work out. From what I read, you cut things off pretty close to when the wedding was going to take place, which was probably a really tough decision for you.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, I guess. You got a lot going on, and then you had a lot going on.
Yeah, when you think something's right, it's right. When something's not, it's not. So, my mom always taught me to follow my heart, follow my gut. Even the decision to go to ASU, no one told me anything. It was all my own decision and how I felt, what was in my gut. So yeah, that both of us have good lives and we've moved on and it's put me in the position I'm at now. So I wouldn't change a thing.
Absolutely. And, obviously, you and Pat will always be tied together. And, just going back and as I was just researching for this and just watching stuff about Pat, I just got upset all over again, essentially. I guess for you, what's it like? Cause he's just like this, mythical figure.
Larger than life.
A larger than life person. And to you guys he's just your brother. Friends is a weird, and obviously it was used as kind of propaganda, against his will, obviously against his family's will. I guess, is it weird? Cause you knew him on a personal level, and then to everyone else, he's like this huge hero.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
It really gave me an appreciation for other people, other families that have lost their loved ones in what, to me was a meaningless war. War in general is, I guess people would say it's necessary, but I don't know in, 25, 50, maybe 100 years when the feminine takes control and there's women in power, I don't think we'll war. I don't think we'll fight as much. And, to lose these people is really hard. And so when I lost a good friend It made me just think of all those faces you'd see in the paper and think, God, that's someone's brother, that's someone's son, that's someone, that's hard. It really struck with me then, like people who have lost so much in fighting this war. And so for me, Pat's a historical figure now. I mean, he's talked about in schools and shit. They dedicate half the season in the NFL to Pat Tillman now. And, as much as he would hate it, he would love it because he always did like some attention. As much as he would say he didn't, he did like it. But Pat was a great friend. But down right to the nitty gritty of Pat is that he was a foul-mouthed, really good friend. And he loved to drink a beer and shoot the shit and make you think. And aside from his skills on the field as a teammate and as 100% every second he played the game, whether that was practice, a walkthrough, or the game, Pat was a badass. He wasn't dull. He lived his life to the fullest. I try to live my life even incrementally like him, but he really was spectacular in that little bit of time he was alive. He influenced so many people in a positive way. And was glad to call him a friend and really a close friend. And I just feel for his family because that's trauma that they're going through, and it's stacked with more trauma and lies and deceit, and it's all from our government. And it's just it really tarnishes a legend by
bullshit. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit what happened.
But even for you to say that, yes, you're stating what it is, but I like to think back to, like, how does his mother and father feel? And whatever they're feeling, that's what I feel. Because I don't want to feel my own feelings, because he was just my homie, one of my best friends. That's their child. That's their creation. Yeah. For them, brothers, Kevin and Richard, like, for them to deal with it, it's tough. Because, he was used by our country to incite patriotism for a war that we shouldn't have been fighting. So, and I don't know if he was going to talk about that when he got back, but somehow, some way, someone decided to take him out. And it's too bad, because I would have loved to have seen him have kids, and it would be awesome to see what he's up to and ask him some questions right now to get his opinion on things, because he always had a pretty fresh, dope outlook on different things in life.
I know everyone's different circumstances change, but do you think if he would have came back that he would have played in the NFL again?
I think he might have, but I don't think he would have done it for very long because, he'd already done that. Pat was the kind of guy who had a list of things he wanted to do in his life, even more, so much so that when he was a freshman at ASU, and Bruce Snyder, the head coach, would sit us all down to talk to us about his plan. Pat sat down and Bruce said, "Hey, Pat, I think that we want to redshirt you and then let you play next year." Pat said, "Well, I'm out of here in 3 years, so my advice would be do not redshirt me. Put me on the field because I'm going to graduate in 3 years and I'm out of here." And who does that? He had a plan, right? He ran a marathon in the off season during the Cardinals time, and they wanted him to get in the weight room. He went and trained for a marathon. The next year, he did a triathlon. The guy wanted to do so many things that I think his list was such that the NFL would have just bogged him down from becoming the real and superhero type gladiator that he was.
Yeah, that'd been badass.
The war and him getting killed is really the part that sucks the most about his life to me. The part that I loved was just his inspiration and who he was as just a badass. He was an awesome dude, and so I miss that. Not necessarily the red, white, and blue aspect of it. I'm more or less upset by that, and more think back to the good times I had with Pat. Yeah.
Do you think he would think what you're doing now? You think he would be a fan of your calling these days?
He had an open mind for anything, and I know he would have taken a stance against it just to hear me talk and defend my stance, or at least express why I'm doing what I'm doing. Whether he believed it or not, he would have asked all the questions to either incite me to feel like I wasn't prepared for this, or to give him the knowledge that I have from my heart and soul to tell him why I'm doing what I'm doing. He would have done that just to test me, just to make sure I was on it. And that was sad, man.
Just cause?
He liked to test you and make sure you have an opinion about this. Well, why do you have an opinion about this? And what does it mean to you? And why does it mean that? He did.
He liked laying out dudes in practice too, it sounded like.
Oh, it's crazy, man. He getting fights all the time with our own teammates. Huh?
You ever fight?
Hard.
Do you guys ever fight?
No. Nah. Not. We never.
Did he ever lay you out? I guess you're not really supposed to hit the quarterback, probably.
Nah, he didn't lay me out.
That's good. So, for you, I mean, obviously there's so much, and one of the things as I've read about you, I mean, you made it, the way you left the game, on your own terms, and, you've spoken out against how, you said your NFL doesn't define you as a person. I guess, do you like, your post-career, everything you're doing now? Are you happier now than you were playing in the NFL?
I can't answer that question because when I was playing, I was really in it, man, and I was having fun and doing everything I could and enjoying the moment. Hindsight's always 20/20, to look back and, damn, I should have spent this off season, maybe taking an internship here to learn a trade or to go do this, but I didn't. I was living my life, doing my thing, having fun. And, now the opportunities that have come my way to be sitting here talking to you guys and helping spread the word about people really seriously getting after their health and wellness. Like, football was nothing. That was just a stepping stone to get to this point right now to help share this knowledge. It's nothing I'm inventing or researching or finding out. I'm just a conduit to this eternal ancient wisdom that's being passed down through nature and plants and organisms. And so for me, this is my true calling. This is what I'm here for. But, I'm just a little over a third of the way done, I mean, I got a lot of life left. And, what's my greatest thing going to be? I mean, let's hope that this isn't just the NFL wasn't it. Because that's a game, man. I was playing a game. And in real terms, was I changing lives or saving lives? Maybe, bringing families together and giving people something to latch on to. But now really the purpose comes through to be able to come, help people find relief. That's a real blessing and a real gift.
Why wasn't Gruden able to convince you to play?
Because I was done, man.
It was like, Jake, come down to Tampa Bay.
He would have been a fun coach to play for, but I was done, man. I didn't want to have any more to do with a coach like, especially him. I mean, he was a great coach, but he was a little intense, and I don't know how we would have meshed, but I was done. I made my mind up to retire, and at that point, I was retiring. Wasn't going to go play in Tampa.
Fair enough. I've got one last question.
Cool.
What kind of advice would you give, just in general? Anything that you want to say to people that are just trying to become better people, that are trying to become better within themselves, from a health standpoint, that are still having a little trepidation to trying something from the ground, or just like any sage advice, like do unto others. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the golden rules is really what I'm always telling my kids too, to try to treat people how you want to be treated. And I was raised that way. I've learned a lot in the last few years, especially going through the pandemic and just being, I'm approaching 50. I got 3 kids.
Well, good for 50, man. You're holding together.
Yeah, the hair is still there, so that's good.
I appreciate it, man. I might lose video here because my phone battery's getting low, but back to answering the question is really just like, love yourself first and foremost. Like if you can't love who you are, and if you have doubt about what you say and the way you walk and there's somebody judging you, like if you can't really dive in and just love who you are, how can you really present your authentic self to the world? And sometimes loving who you are is accepting that you may have a anger issue, or you may be an asshole sometimes. It's not fun to be around, but when you can approach those things and then go, God, I don't like that. I don't like it when I feel that way. What can I do to change? There's really no recipe out there with your Western medicine that's going to help you deal with that. They're going to give you to a psychologist. They're going to take, 10 years to uncover, some childhood trauma, when you can go experience a rapid transformation with nature in one ceremony. And, love yourself though before you do this, because you could be exposed to some extremely uncomfortable situations, but they're all there for your personal growth and your ability to become a little better, or to peel a layer away to find out your true self, who you really are, who you want to be, how you want to present yourself to the world. And so love yourself first, though, really. And that's not kind of like selfish thing. It's selfless to love yourself, to like look yourself in the mirror and say, man, you're a fucking badass. I love you. You've taken me through so many amazing things. Keep it up. You know, negativity is really a bad thing. Be careful how you say things, how you think things, because, you know, a lot of that stuff comes around.
Yeah. How important is it to get outside, get sun, touch grass, all that good stuff?
Listen, I'm a doctor right now. I'm Dr. Plummer. Are you feeling depressed? Well, you know what? Go outside and sit in the sun and pick some grass or climb a tree or look at a bird.
Go for a walk, fatty.
My first prescription is go on a walk in the trees. That's my first prescription for you if you're suffering from depression.
That's good. Yeah. So people skip the simplest shit. I feel like they go right to wanting pills when it's like, well, you eat like shit, you don't exercise, you don't get outside.
Yeah, that's a recipe for not feeling very good.
But with that, I know you. We kept you maybe a little longer, and I know you have family to see and all of that. So as much as we could probably keep shooting the shit, we can let you go. Did you have fun?
Means we might have to do it again someday. You know, I mean, you might have to reach back out.
I would love to have you back on the show. But how do we do? Did you enjoy yourself?
I had a great time, guys. Thank you. I mean, I love to share stories and just kind of, I think the truth of what I did and becoming an NFL player and that shield that will follow me around the rest of my life gives me the opportunity to share a story that if I can help one person look at themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, I love you. I'm going to go down to the grocery store and see about taking some lion's mane. And sleep better, then your brain thinks clearer, and you stop having forgetful moments that can lead you to going, oh shit, am I going to have dementia? I mean, just those thoughts can give you that recipe for that. So thanks for the opportunity just to share my story, and you guys keep it up, man. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, very true.
And you can find Jake's getumbo.com, I believe, and take a look at the website. He's got tons of cool stuff on there for sale. But happy Thanksgiving. Hope you and your family enjoy it. What's your favorite Thanksgiving?
I'm also on Instagram at Snake Plummer or Snake Plummer too. So
I think me and Chris already follow you. You got a good Instagram.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We're doing something on there. I don't know. We got some social media program going on for Umbo. So stay tuned as you know the world turns. But you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Be grateful for life and for everyone you have around you. And thanks for the opportunity to share my mushroom love.
Take care, man. Have a good one.